extraordinaire, the GMologist.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Geomologist Presents. Kind of a shorter session today before we get into the week. Although last week was not very strong in the gaming department or in games played department, this week proves to be, or on paper at least, there's a lot of stuff going on. It looks like there's a Tuesday game, a Wednesday game. So Tuesday is Twilight 2000, Wednesday is Pathfinder 2, Abomination Vaults, and then I go out of town for a couple days, and then Saturday is DCC, Sunday is Ash, maybe other games in there too. Jason is planning on running a after midnight game way early in the morning that I might join. So yeah, and in this couple of calls from Jason here on this podcast, and then couple of one short segment on unboxing, and then the recap of my one-on-one play with my wife Amy, where we play some Call of Cthulhu. So yeah, I guess Jason and I have been sniping at each other, and I will apologize here if I've said something that's gotten his nerves, just as he does in the following couple of call-ins.
Hey Carl, great episode. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't joke so much. Not everybody gets my sense of humor. I wasn't serious about dropping out of all your games, but I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, and so I will apologize to everyone on your show for that. Definitely not my intention. Yeah, and I think you bring up some interesting points. I agree with you, by the way, as far as settings, which is why, if you notice, in the Adventures of Mine that you've played in, I tend not to use settings, or we use them very loosely. So that way, I'm not running up against any kind of continuity stuff because I'm not using it. I make up my own. So that to me is the advantage of not running pre-written stuff, is I can't run into the player saying, well, actually, this is the way it was, or you missed this, because they don't know because I made it up. But anyhow, great job, great episode. That's very cool that you're getting to play with Andy and his gang. Good job there. I hope that goes well. Look forward to hearing future reports on that. I hope you and Amy get to play a game tonight, Saturday night, the night you release the podcast. That will be very cool. I look forward to playing with you on Tuesday with Twilight 2000. And yeah, again, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings with joking about Quibble stuff, but I mean, you got a little on my nerves too with a couple things. So it is what it is, but we need to be able to get past that and focus our efforts on something useful, like getting angry at Joe Richter for something he said. So now that I've set that stage, I will exit stage left.
Yeah, Jason. First off, I apologize if I irritated you somehow. I know we keep sniping at each other, and sometimes we're good at handling sarcasm because we're both sarcastic. That's probably why we get along, but other times we just get irritated. So again, I apologize if I irritated you with something, right? Like not having ladders in Kalmata, it gets old. Although last time I played Kalmata, I think Taylor brought that joke up. But anyway, let's move forward and blame Joe Richter, because that seems to be the coolest thing to do, though Joe and I totally get along for the most part. I think we do. Although I do like procedural in OSR type games. I do like random encounters and wandering monsters. And the people who have been in those games really enjoy that aspect, because it's kind of fun to see what the hell is going to happen today. Not let's do a point crawl or anything like that. So yeah, running. I think I talked. Yeah, running in a fantasy world, a published fantasy world, can run into that problem. And I think, again, as I'm learning to be a better GM and establish that type of stuff in session 0, this is my Forgotten Realms, this is my Eberron, this is my Midgard, whatever. And that's where we're going to run it and take it or leave it. And that would be cool, right? So, yep. Again, I apologize, and let's hear an unboxing. Hey, I'm going to do an unboxing. I haven't done one in a couple episodes. Or ripping envelopes does not count, right? So I got myself an Amazon box from Prime. Their standard box that's about 2.5 inches tall, and I guess it's about not 8.5 by 11, but the next size up. So yeah, it's a 2.9 pound box. I'm gonna open it. I don't have a box cutter. I just have a pair of scissors that serve as a box cutter well enough. All right. So it is a game book, and it is the Genesis The Killing Game. So, if you might have heard, this is the second part in their initial trilogy, and Genesis is a post-apocalyptic world, and you might have heard that, as mentioned around the internet a few days ago, that they're canceling all development of the Genesis IP and bringing the RPG to an end. So they're going to sell off existing stock, and all books and booklets that sell out, well, they won't be reprinted. I guess they tried this model where all the PDFs are free, and then they would expect you to then buy the print stuff, but that hasn't been as lucrative as they intended. Sure, there's been thousands of downloads of the PDFs and lots of fervor for the game, but no one's really bought stuff up. I mean, I have the Rebirth edition and the first one of this trilogy, In Thy Blood. I'm planning on getting the Black Atlantic, the last one. So yeah, I'm getting them, and I'll probably buy more stuff as they go. We'll see how that goes. Maybe get one of the Justinian. Looks pretty fantastic as well. It's a new adventure trilogy. I mean, I have a lot of it on PDF, and I've been wanting to put it to the table, but haven't bought it because we haven't played it. But now that they're going away, well, I'll buy it now. It's kind of a weird thing, right? Yeah, the dogs don't like it, as you can hear in the background. But there it is, the Genesis The Killing Game, part 2 of their initial trilogy for the Rebirth edition. Hello, I wanted to give a content warning to the next 19 minutes. Skip ahead if you would like. The following recap deals with, I would say, violence against children. They're turned into monstrous zombies, and in the course of the adventure, there's a couple birds that get killed. So yeah, if you don't like that type of content, skip ahead 19 minutes after this warning message. So last night, Amy and I finished the Dead of Night scenario from Arkham Unveiled. This is part of our ongoing one-on-one campaign. We're running through Arkham Unveiled now. It started with one of the scenarios in the Call of Cthulhu starter set for 7th edition, and we'll see where it goes. It might stay one-on-one, but there are talks about combining a couple campaigns of Call of Cthulhu that I have into one, so we have more players, right? So then you can face more danger. Although Amy's done a great job with her character Keiko Kane of making relationships with the NPCs in town, especially those among the police, Mickey Harrigan, the good detective and rugby player, and some of the patrolmen who, like in this adventure, they decided to temporarily elevate to help with the investigation. So it was like detective in training, and that was a patrolman bolster. So when we last left Keiko, they had returned. Her, Mickey, and Bolster had returned to the police station after a harrowing night of destroying one of the child zombies. And I guess I will say, well, yeah, she destroyed one of the child zombies, and we're recovering from that harrowing experience. It was both physically traumatic and mentally traumatic for all of the parties involved. The advantage of being at the police department is that they get the news before the news gets the news. And there were a couple reports of that they heard. One, that there had been vandalism at the cemetery, and another that there had been an attack on a homeless person out on River Street, which was along the Miskatonic River in an area of old Georgian abandoned warehouses. Though there was other types of activity there as well. So I believe they went to St. Mary's Hospital first, where Amy's character has like an appointment of some sort, and the man had checked himself out. So then they went to River Street, where Amy's character almost had a run-in with some of the local mob, but was saved both by her ability to stand these ruffians down and the appearance of one of their sort of underbosses, a guy named Eddie Leary, who Amy sort of flirted with, or Amy's character flirted with, and got on her side. So he told his men to take a hike and helped her to do like a spot-on medical examination of the homeless people in the alley adjoining the Lucky Carthage warehouse, where apparently there were some illicit activities going on, bootlegging probably. The homeless were being used as like watchmen, free watchmen for the trade of booze. And I think what was interesting too is that she had like Mickey and Bolster backing her up, but as K Cocaine is bold, and she went there by herself, and then when things were getting maybe hairy, she could see Mickey peeking around the corner, his gun drawn, ready to join in, but she kind of told him not to, because that would have been kind of bad. Police fighting up against some known, bootlegger gang members. So it was pretty cool little bit of role playing. They did not find the person who was attacked. Who knows what happened to them? But then they decided to go back to the station for a little bit, and then they went to go investigate the cemetery. So somewhere in that time, Amy's character was able to continue to study the book, the Nyargo Codex, and learn the spell Destroy Zombie, which entailed the killing of a bird and then pointing that dead bird at a zombie, which would then subsequently be destroyed in theory. So she made the rolls to learn it. It seems like it's a much simpler process. Of course, casting a spell costs sanity, and she'd already lost sanity for reading the codex. She hasn't read the other book because she gave it to her quote-unquote friend, Mrs. Waite, so-called self-defining sorceress. So see how that plays. That could be something for part of the long-term campaign. Who knows? Anyway, the Waite woman is in the background, but encouraged Kate Cocaine to study this book, the Codex, where she would borrow another book to look through, and then they'd compare notes. Have fun, said Edith Waite. I think it's Edith. No, it's some other. It's a strange name, but I don't remember it at the top of my head. Anyway, so she's able to study the book. They go out to the cemetery, and they discover. They look at the vandalism site. The caretakers are kind of upset about it, but don't want the cops to not get involved, but report it so much and not take the blame for any sort of incompetence. So there's a bit of talking to the caretakers and finding out information in the graveyard. They discover, or they look for Jason Checkley's at the Checkley family mausoleum. They see that it has been broken into, and in fact, Jason Checkley's tomb has been opened up, and the hands have been taken. which causes some consternation and sanity checks. So like it was kind of what I liked about the adventure is that it's kind of a slow, like a lot of adventures they don't. It seems that they don't make you roll sanity until towards the end, but this one I like because it was kind of a slow delve into madness, you know. So it was. So they saw that. Then they decided, well, what about the other tomb or the other tombs in the mausoleum? And they saw that the tombs for the children had not been disturbed. But I think Amy's character Keiko wanted to make sure. So, in light of what they found in the tomb in the mausoleum, they were able to get a judge's order to open the other tombs, which they did, and they found that the bodies of the children did not have corpses in them, but instead bags of sand. Um, so they knew that the children were, or at least, I mean, the three investigators in this case, Amy's character Keiko Kane, Mickey Harrigan, and Patrolman Bolster, knew that, yeah, what they were seeing might be real, which was very concerning and disturbing for all of them. And again, they started incurring some sanity loss. So they also looked around the Checkley Mausoleum and found some tracks, thanks to some really good and extreme spot hidden roll on Amy's part, and some tracking rolls by the NPCs, which I have Amy roll sometimes as well. And they found that these tracks led to a trail further in the woods of an old rundown mausoleum, the Carter Mausoleum, which is crumbling and built into the side of a hill, kind of like an old barrow. And they just said, well, I bet you one of the children is there. So based on the advice of the spell, or the instructions on the spell, they came back at night and made the circle, stayed in the circle. Amy made sure that she had Mickey and Bolster close their eyes and chant while she chanted and led the spell, and took the magic point loss and the sanity loss. But what was lucky with Amy is that she was only losing like 1 point of sanity at a time. So when the zombie thing came out, the child zombie thing came out, this was like the youngest of the three. She was able to hold it at bay because of the circle, and then destroy it with the destroy zombie spell. And it turned, the poor child turned into a zombie, into a pile of black goo. So it was destroyed, the soul freed, and that kind. So that was satisfying for the events of the first night. And that's another thing I liked about this adventure, is that like they give you like the initial investigative parts, and then there's a series of events that happen over the course of the next several days. And if you kind of sit on your hands, then it escalates. And so Amy went back to her apartment, said goodbye to the others, and then said, okay, I'll meet you at the station the next day. So she goes there early to the station, and then there's two things that have happened. One of the constable on duty, the night constable on duty. Oh, one thing I should remember. So if you remember, that there's been someone trying to steal the bones of the old voodoo priestess that they found in the house. So Amy came up with an idea to have them take the bones and put them in a bank vault. So if someone tried to break in, they couldn't get them. So I had her actually roll a series of luck rolls, persuade rolls, and especially credit rating to see if she could pull this off. The luck roll to see if anyone noticed that the bones were transferred, a persuade roll to get Mickey and them to do it, and then a credit rating to have the bank finalize the transaction. So she rolled all those pretty well, which was cool. So it happened, got put in the vault. So then when they came the next day, and there was a constable shaken up because he had been attacked. Well, we don't know why he was shaken up. Amy couldn't That's the only time that Amy couldn't get a series of rolls to get clues in the game. He was shaken up, and something had happened. Someone had to try to either attack him or attack the what's it called, the room where the evidence room, and presumably make away with things. But the constable couldn't remember or was very shaken, so they sent him to St. Mary's for evaluation. Amy's character could not do a spot evaluation at that time. The other strange thing that happened as they were processing this is someone came and said there's been a murder out on River Street, and they head out there right away, and they run into the members of the O'Banion gang bootleggers again, one of which probably the third watch, not the people that kind of threatened and confronted Keiko Kane the day before, but another group of employees at the Lucky Carthage cargo house, or whatever it's called, Cordage. It's got a funny name. Anyway, Leary's there though, and he's talking to another policeman, Ray Stuckey, and Amy notices that they seem to know each other, which is suspicious, but probably again for a later part in the campaign. But so they find the body. It looks, the coroner is known to Amy, and he kind of, as Ray Stuckey kind of protests that, why is this person there? The coroner lets Amy's, despite the protests of this Ray Stuckey, the coroner says that Keiko Kane is with him, and Amy's character examines the body, and it is, torn, the face is torn off, the neck is torn out. It's pretty gruesome. So they know that the other one, the last of the three zombie children, is probably in the area. So she kind of talks to Mickey and Bolster and says, okay, we need to find this thing. Let's let Stuckey, since it's, it seems that he's maybe a crooked cop and isn't, league with the mob, maybe he can take care of this mob related investigation. So they go and Amy rolls some spot hiddens, they find some tracks, and they go in a direction into the old Georgian area where all the Georgian abandoned warehouses are located. And Amy's like, well, the sun isn't up, is it? And I said, no, it's still, pre-dawn. So she goes, well, I'm going to do the ritual. So, she knows she's being watched and something is out there. So she performs a ritual and again kills it on the power roll against the creature. It looks like the zombies did not have a lot of power anyway, so very easy to be compelled. So the last zombie child comes out, although it's more of like a zombie teenager, and is then destroyed with the ritual. Amy had Mickey or Bolster capture a seagull that was nearby, throw it in a bag, and then perform the ritual, and kind of anticipating that this could be a possibility to end it there. The thing that did happen, though, is as well, the first time that she performed this, Keiko Kane remained lucid. After she performed the ritual and took the sanity hit for the spell, Keiko Kane lost it, and then saw an apparition of Jason Checkley, and started attacking it. When in reality, she was attacking Mickey, and Mickey was able to dodge and fend her off, and then Mickey and Bolster were able to grab and hold on to Keiko so she wouldn't hurt herself or others until she calmed down. And then Keiko kind of comes to, wakes up back at the police station, as Mickey and Bolster are very concerned, looking over her and, you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. So it was good. She goes up and gives Bolster a hug, and then because she's still kind of out of it, right? So the way sanity works is like you could have this bout of madness, but then you're temporarily insane for a while, so you're prone to fits or acts of emotion that you wouldn't normally do. So Amy decides that she's gonna plant a kiss on Mickey's lips, and yeah, Mickey responds in kind, so it's pretty cool. And then they are able to rest a little bit, and Mickey has his rugby game. I had Amy roll his rugby, and she failed the first time, so she pushed it. I said, "Well, it could mean that Mickey gets hurt." She goes, "Oh, but I want him to win." So she rolled, and I just had him roll like his rugby. Seriously, the Mickey character is written with a rugby uh, skill. So she rolled his rugby skill, and he killed it. Got a hard success. So I narrated that Mickey scored the winning try. Scrum half, after all, he could do that off of scrum, within 5 meters for sure. I've seen it many times. So he wins the game. They wins the game. Probably gets a little knocked on the head, but Amy takes care of him, hugs him, gives him another kiss again, and people cheer and clap and ho ho, and we end on a positive note. So I did have an epilogue that they did find those missing hands. There was in the newspaper a couple days later. There was a vile scene at one of the hotels where there was an animal that had been slaughtered and some sort of ritual performed or done, and they had found the missing hands of Jason Chuckley. So I guess those hands were returned to their tomb, and now maybe another adventure hook is the pursuit of this mysterious Dr. Marquis, a tall African American man, very distinguished looking, with a French accent. So we'll see where that goes. And it was really fun. It's cool. I think Amy is pretty lucky, and maybe I make her roll way too much, but she really gets into it and enjoys the game. I like how she is interacting with the NPCs and making that sort of connection with Mickey. So if we do, she'll have a henchman. If we go on an adventure with other players, that they'll have Mickey Harrigan there, depending on whether he can get leave from his duties at the Arkham Police. But we'll see. It's very fun. So there you go, a very long recap of the conclusion to Dead of Night with Amy as Keiko Kane. All right, that's the show. I had a great time running a one-on-one adventure with my wife, Amy. She does a really fantastic job with Keiko Kane. I think we really get into it. There's a couple arguments here and there. She definitely is reluctant to do actual play because then she feels like she would have to act. Maybe I'll convince her one of these days to do that. We argue sometimes about the rules. She might know them better. I don't know. So I definitely hope we can continue this campaign. It's a kind of neat Arkham Unveiled campaign. There's definitely some hooks that you can take that are not related to their adventures in the back of the book. There's like 4 adventures in the back, but it's mostly all Arkham, and it's kind of a neat. I definitely recommend it if you want to set a game in and around Arkham, and then you can jump off and do some Arkham Country type of stuff as well, or Tales from the Miskatonic Valley, all those kind of products. There's both official Chaosium products and third-party products for that type of adventure. So yeah, really enjoyed it. Hope to do it again. I think it's sporadic, maybe every other week. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll do something next Saturday. I don't know. Depends on how inspired we feel and what kind of stuff we got going on during the day. But again, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. TJ Drennan does the music, and TJ, take us out.